student, today we are going to learn about balance of payment. This is also very important heading which we should learn in your unit number 9. Right? Balance of payment transaction are 5 types according to the new structure we have to learn. Right? For example, the transaction related to goods and services, exports and imports. The transaction related to income receipts and payment. Third one, the one-way transaction related to the things such as asset, wealth and gifts. The transaction related to buying and selling of financial assets. The transaction related to buying and selling of non-produced and non-financial asset. So the balance of payment transaction are here classified into 5 types. Right? So according to the nature of the transaction, there are 3 main accounts in the new structure of the balance of payment. See here, current account. First of all, we can see current account, capital account and financial account. There are 3 types of accounts we are maintaining in this balance of payment. Right? When we talk about this current account, there are 3 sub accounts. Right? First one, goods and services accounts. And second one, primary income account. Third one, secondary income account. So under this goods and services account, it can be divided into 2. One will be goods account, another one will be service account. Right? Now I can give some examples related to this international trade that has been given below. For example, exporting 500 million worth of stock of government by a Sri Lankan government company. Second one, importing of 1,000 million worth of vehicle from a Japanese automobile company. This transaction is related to trade account. Right? It means here see will you, the transaction related to above examples are included to the trade account, whatever I told you now. The account which is reported the exporting and importing of goods with the rest of the world is known as trade account. The non-monetary gold of trade account is reported as a store value of private sector. If there are some non-monetary gold of trade account, so it will be it is reported as a store of value of private sector. Right? Now let's see how to find this balance of trade account. It means we can see the difference between goods export minus goods imports. Right? So the difference between will be the balance of trade. So balance of trade would be a deficit to surplus sometime. Right? So here in this example we can see here it is a deficit balance. Okay. Now let's see what do you mean by this service account. The account which is reported expenditures and incomes of non-factor services of a country with the rest of the world in the international trade is known as service account. Right? See here, somewhere I can list down some components related to this service accounts. For example, travel, sea transport, air transport, financial services, telecommunication services and insurance services. Right? So if we consider this balance of service account now here, the balance of service accounts equal export of services minus import of, or it means import expenditure of services. Actually, this balance also would be a deficit or surplus balance, right? Now we are going to learn about balance of goods and service accounts, right? The balance of goods and service accounts can be calculated by adjusting the balance of goods accounts and the balance of service accounts. So remember, students, you have to remember this one. Goods account and service account we have to include. So balance of goods and service account equal balance of goods account plus balance of service account. So now I can give you some examples related to foreign transaction of Sri Lanka. For example, Sri Lanka pay 500 million of annual interest for the loans obtained from foreign countries. Second one, let's see, receiving 300 million dividends by a Sri Lankan company from an investment of a factory in Maldives. So here, balance of primary income account. Now let's see here, the transaction related to the example what I told you now are included to the primary income account of balance of payment. Balance of primary income account equal foreign factor income received minus foreign factor income paid. See the difference between here. Balance of primary income account equal, it means balance of primary income account equal foreign factor income received minus foreign factor income paid. So here. Now let's see. Some transaction takes place between residents of Sri Lanka and non-residents are, now we can see here, residents of Sri Lankan and the non-residents, we can see some transaction. For example, Sri Lankan who works at Middle East sent 1,500 million of workers' remittances to commercial banks. See what is this transaction. Second one, Chinese who live in Sri Lanka sent 500 million of workers at Middle East, right? Middle East sent 1,500 million of workers remittances to bank in China. What I told you now, Chinese who live in Sri Lanka sent 500 million of workers at Middle East sent 1,500 million of workers remittances to a bank in China. So here, now we can see the secondary income account here. Receipts of foreign transfers, how much here? 1,500 minus payments of foreign transfer, how much here? 500. So together we can get the balance here. Secondary income account will be this 1,000. Right? So now if you, from this chart we can simply get some idea. See this one, credit here, debit here, and also the balance. So balance of goods and service account, credit 500, debit 1,000, and the balance 1,500. Balance of primary income account, see here, 300, 500 credit debit, and the balance will be the minus 200. So balance of secondary income account, see here, credit 1,500, debit also 1,000, CVLU, and balance will be 500. So simply we can understand from this schedule how to find out this balance of current account. Okay. Now see here, non-produced, non-monetary assets are, actually it is included in capital account, and monetary assets are included in financial account. Remember students, non-produced, non-monetary assets are included in capital account and monetary assets are included in financial account. So here, another things you have to remember, the non-produced and non-monetary assets between residents and non-residents are included in capital accounts as credit and debit. So now I can give some examples for non-produced monetary assets. For example, license, lease agreements, brand names, buying and selling of goodwills, selling of land to an embassy, patents, royalties, donation from government and institution of foreign countries can be included for this non-produced monetary assets. Right? Now let's see what do you mean by this financial account. The last sub account of the balance of payment schedule is the financial account. The financial account is reported the transaction related to monetary assets and liabilities that take place between residents and non-residents. Right? So here the transaction of financial account can be divided mainly five types based on the functions. First of all, we can see here direct investment, portfolio investment, financial derivatives, other investments, and foreign reserve asset. These can be listed here. Right? So students, now I am coming to the end of today's session. I think you would have understood some concept related to the balance of payment, and in this balance of payment, how these balances are found out, and how the question is going to come for the exam, and what are the components are here in this balance of payment. I think you will be able to understand this chapter to the best of your level. So students, let's meet with another heading. Till that, I am winding up my session with salam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.